we saw, remember, prolactin to secrete more milk. At first, it is, let me see where it is. Let's finish this. Prolactin production and oxytocin for secretion. At first, they will have colostrum. It's the first 48 to 72 hours. Very, very important. It is then transitioned to regular milk. Okay. The colostrum has less fat, less sugar than mature milk. So here's the milk, human milk and cow's milk and human colostrum. You can see there's a protein is pretty high. Okay. Fat, a little bit less fat. Lactose is a sugar, a little bit less sugar. So the human milk is actually quite sweet. Breast milk has laxative effect, which will clear out the meconium and bilirubin through the bile. So as you remember, where is it? As you remember, we talked about the bilirubin. Where did it go? Bilirubin is the buildup of the when the blood breaks down, and then it accumulates, and then it will cause brain damage if there is a buildup of it. Okay, so that's why it's important to get some sunlight, and otherwise it will cause jaundice in the baby. And as you can see, as you've seen some of them, they become more yellowish. Again, it is a toxic. So 2 copies of the genome, okay, double-stranded. It's got 32 billion nucleotides. Okay, that's how it's distributed into the 48 chromosomes. So this is our genetic makeup. Okay. Remember, there's the zygote comes from 1 copy of the 23 chromosome, and then the other copy of mom's. Among these, 3.2 billions are 20,325 protein encoded genes. Pattern of inheritance. So this is what we're going to talk about, a little bit of the genetics. Let's see. Oh, I don't know where it is, but genotype. Let's talk about genotype. Genotype is your genetic makeup, and phenotype is what you actually shows up as your physical characteristics. If you remember phenotype, let me see if it's somewhere. Oh, there it is. Phenotype and genotype. So phenotype with the P is your physical makeup. Okay, what you look like, your hair, and all that stuff. And your genotype is your genetic makeup. So let's look through this. Karyotype, pair 1 to 22 are autosomal. Okay, which means they do not determine the sex cells. Okay, pair 23, okay, are the sex chromosomes. Okay, here is the 23 chromosome. The XY chromosome, okay, this is the male. The XX will look almost very similar. Okay, the X is longer. Okay, it contains more information. The X one, the Y contains less information, but this is a characteristic of a male. Each chromosome carries hundreds to thousands of genes. Now, you see how all these are kind of look alike, okay? That's why they're called homologous. Homologous. Since you have 2 of the same chromosomes, homologous, you have 2 copies of its genes, okay? Genes are thousands of nucleotide. If they're nucleotide sequence, they have a variant form called allele. Variant arises from mutation. So again, particular combination of genes, variant is your allele. In a person's genome consists, it's called the genotype. So this is whatever you come with, okay? Homozygous receive the same allele from mom and dad. Okay, again, homo is the same. Zygous receive the same allele from mom and dad. Heterozygous means different. Okay, receives different alleles from mom and dad. And then whatever characteristic shows up, okay, whichever is dominant, that will show up. Okay, dominant allele masks the phenotype of the recessive allele. So the dominant one will show up. It will cover the phenotype, your physical appearance of the recessive genes. So let's say your mom has brown eyes and your dad has blue eyes, and then whichever is dominant, it will show up, and then the recessive one will be masked. The recessive allele is expressed only if in a double dose of homozygous. Sometimes the dominant is complete, incomplete, or codominant. So your phenotype. Okay, phenotype is your trait. You start with one trait with one pair of allele. Of course, we're simplifying it. Okay, but most of the time it's not that simple. There can be more possibility. There can be more than two possibility of alleles. For example, blood type. Yeah, of course, we're not going to talk about. You don't need to know this, but this one you need to know the Punnett square. This is called a Punnett square, where we will do some little bit of math, not math, but oh yeah, there it is, Punnett square. We will determine the just one characteristics of a trait. So usually there's nothing inside. Don't let this scare you and confuse you. Usually there's nothing inside. So we're gonna use the one side of, let's say this is your mom, or let's start with your dad. Let's say this is your dad's side and this is your mom's side. Okay, so dad and mom will combine with. We usually characterize with one capital and then one and then the smaller letter. Okay, so A and A, one A, one big, one small, and then over here 1 8, one big, one small, and over here again 1 big, 1 small, and over here 1 big, 1 small. So now you combine 100% of the offsprings are AA dominant. Okay, so the A is the dominant trait, and this is the recessive. So now we have another combination. Okay, this and this will become double A, double capital. This and this, again, 1 big, 1 small. This and this will become 1 big, 1 small. And this will become 2 small. Okay, so this one, okay, it shows up as the recessive. If you have 4 kids and they all, comes out perfectly like this, you will have one kid with a recessive phenotype. Okay, autosomal dominant. Abnormal allele is dominant. Okay, so it shows up. Okay, it's located between 1 to 22 of the autosome. If one parent has the trait, at least 50% of the children will have it. Okay, again, we can do this. Punnett square. 50% will become dominant. 50% become recessive. So at least one of the 50% of the kids will show up. Autosomal recessive, again, same thing using the Punnett square. Okay, 75% will have it, and then this one 75%. Okay, is the dominant one, and then 25% of the cystic fibrosis in this case will show up. Heterozygous do not have the trait because they have one dominant allele and it's normal, but they are a carrier. Only when both parents have the allele can the children have the trait. So you just got to go through the Punnett square. So sex chromosome, again, the mom always give an X, and the dad will give an X to the daughter and a Y to the son. The X chromosome is longer. Most genes on the X chromosome do not have a corresponding allele on the Y chromosome. The Y chromosome is smaller, has only 221 proteins. Again, the X and Y are not homologous. They are not similar in shape. They're not the same. You will not be tested on this. X-linked means the allele are on the X chromosomes. X-linked, this one is the dominant. Dad with the disease would have 100% daughter. Mom with the disease would have 50% of all children with the disease. Lethal genes. Stop in the process of development. Usually it will stop. The development, death will occur. Sometimes you're inherited. It's actually not inherited, but it's sometimes environmental as well. Some things like heart disease, diabetes, it could be your environmental. Some abnormal ones are trisomy. Trisomy has got 3 of them, like this. Trisomy 21. This is, you're supposed to have 2 genes, right? This one has 3 genes. So this is trisomy 21. This is Down syndrome. This extra doesn't mean better. Okay. Monosomy is missing a chromosome. Okay, like this case right here is missing. Human lifespans, approximately 120 years. In the US, life expectancy is 76.3. For men and women live longer, scientifically. So medical error is the number 3 cause of death in the US. Okay? After heart disease and cancer. So, when you get into the medical field, please be very careful, and a lot of error can happen. All right, this will be the end of AP2. Good luck, everybody.